Welcome to this masterclass about Alex Hormozi. Okay, I'm taking a slow pace. Guys, we've covered on this channel for sure Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Reese, Iman Gadzi, Stephen Bartlett, and the Diary of a CEO. If we're being exact here, it's like Alex is the most businessy out of them all. Look, the other guys are businessy too, but maybe if we can picture it in the right way, they're not quite that great, but he's more focused on the business side than on the creative side or whatever you might want to call it. It's like Alex is the type of person who combines all business with the adaptation of organic social media marketing. But even if you're a super creative creator, there still are things to learn from him, like how he spent just 7% of his time on content creation, mistakes they made, and why Skool could be really the big game changer. And of course, put your headset for immersive experience. Now that we're on the same page, as usual, with an inflection point, specifically with how Alex's belief about content creation was broken. First things first, he definitely should have learned from his great-great-grandfather.
My great-great-grandfather had like 400 wives, ruler, very, very wealthy.
Really?
Yeah, very, very wealthy. Different time, different culture.
I mean, he had large influence. Okay, letting jokes aside, he had to learn this the hard way. So it all started when he saw a young millionaire called Kylie Jenner made the front of Forbes as the youngest billionaire when she was 20.
I saw Kylie Jenner become a billionaire when she was 20 and I was 27, and I thought I was, and I was like, she is way richer than I am. And so it means that she's doing something different than I am by an order of magnitude.
But of course, that still was not enough.
And she had a personal brand. But I was like, you know what? Kris Jenner's been building her brand since she was 5. Like, okay, I'll write that off as a fluke.
Then his ego was hit. Like, it's like you're spending too much money here and effort and all your physical and emotional attachments and everything you put it into one bucket and get results that are good. But you see someone who spends time on Instagram doing makeup and I don't know, whatever. And
Huda Beauty, sold a chunk of her thing at 600. Now I think it's worth over $1 billion. And, Conor McGregor had Proper 12 and George Clooney had Casamigos, right? And then The Rock has Terramana. And each of those billion to multi-billion dollar things, like seemingly overnight. Now you've got Logan Paul with Prime. And so
long story short, he discovered that all influencers took a long time to build their influence and to build that personal brand. But the crucial thing they really had is a compounding vehicle. They had leverage. For example, when you do a good deed, you give $1 to a homeless guy. Great. Now, they spend it. Now they're broke again. But imagine with me, you take money from your family members and all of your friends and you put your own money, build a well. Now people can benefit from it even after you're all dead. Look, when you have capital, you have leverage. When you have employees, you also have leverage. You leverage their time, their expertise, their energy, their attention. Same thing when these influencers put all their energy into a piece of content, they have leverage as it grows their brand. But here's the catch. Do you think that this is free? Well, yeah, but the crucial thing influencers do without even knowing is leveraging the audience's attention. But Alex still had something stopping him.
And so I still wasn't convinced because I didn't want to be famous. And I have another clip of me being like, I never want anybody to know who I am from a few years ago. And I was sat across the table from a friend of mine who's famous. You would recognize him. And I said, don't you get bothered by having weirdos show up at your house 3 times a week and letters to your kids? And isn't that that doesn't seem worth it to me. And he said, if that's the price I have to pay for the impact I want to have, I'd pay that price twice a day and 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of looked at me, and I just felt very called out, just for being a pansy. And so I was like, all right, well, that's what I'll do. And so that was the last straw that broke the camel's back, and I started making content that week.
And after finally breaking his belief, he started an audio podcast, then a YouTube channel, and bit by bit, things evolved into a proper strategy that we'll discuss in the next section. Now, how did he spend, and I'm sure he still spends little time on content creation compared to full-time creators? Well, apart from he having a team, there's a system, and let's start with this.
So the old way that I used to do content was I would just have this ongoing email thread to myself. I don't know, you guys have like notes or like a chain to yourself? Because you probably get ideas, you're in a conversation, oh, I should make a piece of content on that, right? And then you email it to yourself. And that's how I did it for a long time. And the new way is the Twitter way, which is being blocked by the thing because it formatted weird. But I post all of those ideas as tweets on Twitter rather than just sending them to myself. And so all of a sudden, what used to be my inbox is actually just my like tweet thread.
As we see, the first step actually contains 3 tips, like note-taking, testing, and validating with Twitter. Now, obviously, taking notes is important because our subconscious mind processes data and information more than our conscious mind. It works more. So it's like when you get that eureka moment, like, do you think it just came out of nowhere? It's like your brain process data while you're unconscious. I mean, many times you're eating and thinking about this and thinking about that, and it just, when you're involved in something, it doesn't stop from working. And when you get any idea, you better note it. I use the notebook over there. I also use Notion for I still have to get some ideas over here. Well, anyways, it's like basically at least have some space where you put them into, don't keep them here. How much your mind can take. I mean, it is powerful, but you understand. Now, here's where Alex made a really smart move, and it is to test the ideas on Twitter. So he uses it to note them and to test them as far as we know. And that testing phase is we can say the validation. There are these videos of him just saying his tweets. It's kind of similar to the idea that Mr. Beast made famous, which is make the thumbnail before you actually make the video. To test if that idea is viable. But the crucial thing about that is that you make the thumbnail, then what? I mean, there still should be a way to test them for proper. Although Alex doesn't share in his Twitter any thumbnails, he shares ideas, and if an idea resonates with his audience, it passes the test. I mean, it's like you're not just hypothesizing if this will work. You actually post it and see if it works and resonates with your audience, and you get feedback from your audience. It's also an algorithm. Although it's a different algorithm, it's still useful. It promotes content that makes people engage with the platform and stay on it longer. But that approach of data is still useful. And guys, just a little note, these ideas, just listen to this. You don't need a therapist. You need to stop describing a normal life as a problem. As we see, we see the philosophy of Alex. Maybe if you don't want their life, take the opposite of their advice, or take, their regrets. Now, before moving on, not everybody has a large audience on Twitter. I don't have a large audience yet on Twitter, and basically you just have to do the work to improve. But I still encourage you guys to take notes. That simple thing about freeing your mind is time saving, because it's when I have an idea that stays in my head, after a while, I notice. Just my mind keeps repeating it. And there's still, you can try the community post on YouTube. You can get creative with it. Now, you have to pay attention because it's getting dense. Really, really dense.
And so I think it's a width and depth thing. I think the shorts give you a lot of breadth. I think the longs give you a lot of depth, right?
Look, I'm not a fan of distracting myself with 2 things. Dude, I can sacrifice school-related works for a video. And focus is very, very important for me. Look, I understand it's very tempting to see other people posting on other platforms, all over social media platforms here and there. And I also was distracted with Twitter for a while. I was trying to grow on Twitter by, and there are other things that other creators do like newsletters, Instagram, TikTok. And if you dedicate focus towards one main thing, just imagine the compound effect. I have something very beneficial and interesting, which is the template I use for creating an idea project and bringing it to life. It's something that has changed and developed over time for more than a year and a half. You got what you need in one place to simplify the workflow and the process, all for free on my Skool community. Speaking of which, I'm really excited about a place where entrepreneurs and educational creatorpreneurs can network and benefit each other and learn from the mistakes and successes. It's hard to keep going in this journey alone. You need support. Which, by the way, I want to mention that this is one of the reasons that contributed to Mr. Beast's success. He had this group of friends who were obsessed about YouTube.
You in 2 years, might have learned from 20 mistakes, or if you have like 4 other people who are also messing up, and when they learn from the mistake, they teach you what they learn. Stuff like that. Hypothetically, you 2 years down the road have learned like 5 times more of the amount of stuff.
But also you get to see behind the scenes of my production, like full scripts of my videos, from titles, research, and how the story is structured and formed, and literally compared to the final results you're watching on YouTube, which could give you an interesting perspective. We could have so much more, of course, and it's gonna be exciting. Can't wait to see you there. Click the link below to join my Skool community now. While results are not guaranteed and it's for long term and you have to delay gratification on all of that, we can guarantee is that if you keep iterating and improving, you will improve. Likely
10, right? If you've got 1 unit of energy going in 10 directions, you're only going to make 1 inch of progress, but in 10 different directions, right? However, if you cut all of those off and you just focus on one thing, you can make like 10 inches of progress with the same amount of energy. This is how focus works.
Look, I'm not perfect too. I got distracted in the past too, as I said. You see all of these people advancing while you're stuck in your place. Like, it feels depressing, and the comparison starts. And it's just, and one thing like I learned from reading Doris, philosophy expert, that if you're gonna take an opportunity seriously, you should ask yourself, will this make the boat go faster, depending on the goal, like the road that you chose. Will this make the boat go faster? And I'm gonna give an example of me just in a bit. Like, if you think Alex is this person, like, no, like, he has a team of people. He has, like, I think he has a writer, as I know, and he has a strategist. He has, like, basically professional people. And what he does, like, he can do the writing because he's an author, and he can film. And when filming, he will batch filming. It's like putting all the recording tasks on one block. Like, I'm not gonna simply record this video. Like, I recorded the previous video, and I'm planning to record other 2, like, which is pretty time saving. Like, imagine you script, you edit, then you record, then you edit. Like, it's not organized, although it looks like. How about scripting 2 videos, then recording them? Then you can start editing and record, script others. Like, the editing phase takes too much time. And for Alex, if we take the question of will this make the boat go faster? Yes, his company acquisition.com, and recently this year, it's his biggest investment, Skool.com. He's a major investor in it. Like, the boat will go faster. It's like, he's not even the CEO of acquisition.com anymore. His wife is. So when it comes to us guys, spreading ourselves, well, we don't have large teams. Ourselves too thin is a recipe for mediocre work. And I think this applies both to long and short form content. Like, short form in a way, like, yeah. And also it depends on your goals and vision. Like, for me, recently, like this month, it's April, like, I posted like four shorts. One is a double, it's basically just the double. And really, I thought, like, will this make the boat go faster? Yes, because like you're a later video and people might just watch it, and maybe. But I didn't obsess too much about creating them. Like, yes, it took time, but not to the point of a professional short form creator who can take 10 hours just to create a short. Like I just took like chop this, put this here, but then post it. And I'm now thinking like I already have a video, like a 10-minute TikTok that I still didn't post like since those days. And like because like maybe I could reach more people through TikTok and relate them to the channel, because like the focus this year is not on short form content. Like it could help make the boat go faster, but like I should not obsess over it too much. Like maybe if I get enough money to outsource, and even if I outsource, it's better to outsource things to make the boat go faster in the direction that you want. Maybe buy a camera, maybe upgrading the computer for you to edit faster if editing is your thing. You know, there are lots of things that could help make the boat go faster. And as I said, it depends on your goal and vision.
You got to do it a lot of times for a long period of time, and you will get better.
Look, I know that quantity is important, but I just want to replace it with iterating, trying, iterating, trying. It's like also the quality of that quantity, if you want to go with quantity. It's like when you revise a lesson of historiography. It's like when you're on your desk and like the phone is over there, you play and whatever, or like the computer is over there, you're watching a series on Netflix. It's like, you see where I go? It's like the quality of the quantity. Like guys, for this channel, I made videos that you never saw, and I even scripted videos that you never saw. Like now, if you look at them, they're terrible. Like, and also it was kind of my mistake is going with the perfection. It's like I script a video, then I script another one. This new one is better than the old one. It's like I leveled up the bar. It's like I improve it in terms of writing, but like when I look back, it's like, what is this? It's so horrible. And I rewrite it and modify it and don't record it. I mean, like, just look at this. It's like just a resume of a video. And to be accurate, it's iterations that make improvement. A clip and the other clip. Now, 10x the input doesn't necessarily mean 10x the output. Surprisingly, you can get more.
And so I would rather have quality over quantity, but quantity beats just quality, right? But I would personally, this is me, I would personally prefer to have better stuff and give away as many secrets as I possibly can to get people to start taking steps towards you.
But at the end, let's remember that you only can control what you can control. Like, you can put 10x the effort on improving areas that you chose to improve, but this does not mean necessarily 10x the outputs or 100x results. Yes, the product improved, but doesn't mean the number of people who watched the video was significantly more. Personal example is...
This is where I realized I have not had a great relationship with results. For example, the last 2 videos on my channel pretty much had the same amount of work and effort put into them. One of them got 15 times the result in terms of views. And it is a bit demotivating.
A video, like, that documentary I made about Imam Ghazi, like, the results are, we can say, disappointing because I spent more energy. It's like, not more. It's like the script is significantly better than the last one I made. I made one about Imam Ghazi in dialect Arabic, and like it's like also the storytelling was better and the editing was also better. It's like I paid an editor because I needed to get it like in the deadline. I published it with Imam launching the event. But fun fact, that other video is like it has been for a month and ish before the other event was launched, and it's got more views compared to the other one because I improved, I took the old script and do it and improve. The output was better than the other results. And what we can call the beauty about YouTube is that you can do reps and at the same time post them and test and see the results. It's like playing a football match. It's like footballers spend an enormous time training, those training days, intense training, and they have performance days. So like this is a performance day. It's not a training day. But like the beauty about YouTube is that you can train maybe a script, you practice a script, you're still starting out, and then you record a video for that script, and that way it's like you train and at the same time perform. But it's also great to have training days like practicing the articulation, and also have like sing performance day, practicing being in front of the camera. Like you pick half an hour out of your day and you start to talk. But as we said, it's like kind of the beauty. You test, you train, and you actually see the performance of it. It's like you get to the point again, the outsider results you don't have much control over them, but the internal results, in your view, you compare your latest video to the previous one, you see that, oh, this is actually better in terms of...
I did it 100 times. And so sometimes people even hear 100 and it's just a big number. But when you do 100 repetitions of something, the first 5 times you're like, wow, I'm so much better. But then like the difference between 5 and the next 95 times is what goes from being great to being a masterpiece. And like it's that next 95 that I think is what makes people world class. And that's where everyone falls off. And that's why most people aren't.
And yeah, it's not only about basically more time. It's also about more reps, as we said previously. And I absolutely agree with the idea of reps, repetitions, You flex your muscle, you repeat and repeat X time the period that you spent doing it. Although, as we said, it's like you can benefit from posting them and see the feedback. You see the data. Data doesn't lie, That what makes YouTube or social media as a business quite very different from traditional business. And this is also depends on what do you want your brand to be like. Alex wanted to grow acquisition.com. And remember that phrase when he entered the video, he used to say, I'm the co-founder and CEO of acquisition.com and I have nothing to sell you, It's like he wanted to associate himself with business education, and we'll get to that later bits, mistakes they made. And also that tension between explore and exploit. Explore, it's like Mr. Beast when he explored for the first time the format of $1 versus whatever, a house or jet or whatever, Then he exploited it heavily. It's like $1 versus those, this versus this. Like you squeeze the juice out of your exploration, but you still put nuggets of exploring here. And there are other steps that on the Alex Hormozi system, like actually to our left, call to action, injection call to action, and contextualizing the show to fit the platform. You see, Alex Hormozi in his book, I didn't read it, I just read a bit of the sample. Anyways, I know that from reviews, I know that he talked, and he also said this, as I remember, in an interview, or maybe more than one interview, that the job of the CEO or whatever, your job is to get people to know about your business. He said this also in videos, and it's true if we really look at it. And a mistake Alex and his team made previously is that making videos that don't suit the audience that they want to influence. Like, remember when the videos were edited in a way that was, funny and like Avengers way and like more for young people? No, maybe at that time they wanted to influence young entrepreneurs specifically. Like, it's like that how I remember the first video I watched of Alex, and like the edit was like, wow, it's like funny. It's like here and there and here. And even people in the comments praised the edit. But if we look at Alex today, it's completely different. It's like he started in that way, but like he diverged from it. Then he returned back to it. Like that was a mistake of making videos like that, but it was an exploration. Now they're more dense and based on education. When you enter, you have this mindset that, oh, this is for education. You're either gonna stay longer than the average Gen Z, or you're gonna quit early on because that's what you wanted. And that style simply represents like my hypothesis and my analysis that they wanted to associate more Alex with business education. And Alex in the past already got so many views with just being in the podcast, like that's long form content. And he also got lots of views doing presentations. It's like these long videos that are packed with information on dense. They probably realized, it's actually better. So they transitioned to posting these long videos. Remember quality versus quantity? They're not even posting more than they used to. So when a 27-year-old entrepreneur thinks of someone to learn business from, Alex is one of the go-to places. It's like, I want to give an example from the Arabic world. There's this YouTuber called Dopamine Caffeine, and what he makes is explaining books. Just wait, in multiple episodes. We read so that you don't have to read. It's like very unconventional. It's very different. It's like he himself didn't think that people wanted to benefit from books. He was wrong about it. But it's like long form content and explaining books. He's doing the work for you. You're not reading the book, you go to watch the video about the book. And then you can decide later whether to buy it or not. It's like seeing the competition and see where you can, add this, reduce this. It's like then what? So he actually started explaining them in multiple episodes. Maybe your computer does not inject humor and you're naturally a funny person. So that's an advantage that you can utilize. You can be more creative, authentic, introduce new ways and to keep with what your audience wants. It's like it's also kind of associating these particular things like business education, book explanation in series with the brand. It's like a personal brand. And speaking of branding, like his thumbnails obviously always include him. But there's a crucial thing about branding that we can learn from Alex. And if we just look at it, it's true. Like
branding is teaching behavior at scale. And so if you think about the origins of the word, branding was branding cattle. So you had a cow and you would sear, some sort of logo into it. And so then we have to ask, what was the objective of that action? Well, the idea would be that if someone saw the cow next to a cow that had no brand, they would behave differently, right? And so for a cow that had no brand, they might take it, they might kill it, they might leave it alone, whatever they would do with an unbranded cow. But with a branded cow, they might return it to a specific owner, or they might kill it because they hate the owner, right? So like it's still a brand, and you might hate the person who's the owner. But the key difference is that it would change your behavior. And so if we kind of extrapolate onto that, what we did was like by changing behavior, that's functionally teaching. And so when we teach things from babies all the way to adults, it's associating things that people know with things that they don't know. And so the thing that they know should be the valuable thing, and the thing they don't know is your brand. And so then you associate the thing that audience deems valuable with this logo or this tagline or these colors or these shapes or this person. And then they say, oh, these are similar. And then you do it enough times that eventually they become one and the same. And then you can drop the thing and have the person, and they will still behave the same way as though they were receiving this value, but that has now been disassociated.
That's branding, I watched, it's like if you watch this speech of Steve Jobs, it's like about, you think of Michael Jordan and like jumping in the air, something like that. I don't particularly remember, but you get the idea. It's like when people think about Alex, they think about business education. When they think about my channel, tell me what you're thinking about. This is why I said like the channel is gonna change. Like I'm gonna associate myself with something more particular than simply documentaries or explainers. And if we compare Alex to Imran Ghazi is more associated with the young generation of entrepreneurs, a young, affluent individual who's rich and helping young people make money online with self-improvement tips and money tips. Hey, but at the end, each one has his own method and they both work. And before getting into Skool, we should talk about the first ROI, which is acquisition.com. Like, I didn't think that Alex had so much ROI researching this video, like consciously knowing it. Like, yes, he co-founder, he was the CEO of acquisition.com, but like, really making YouTube videos and being on social media, would this make acquisition.com a place for people to go to? Because it's a company that invests in companies with capital and education. It's like he's creating this goodwill and making it for the long term. And also, people will be glad to join acquisition.com. And it's like, oh, Alex Hormozi. It's like they have the validation of Alex Hormozi if they join acquisition.com. And just listen to how much free advertising helped him as of a late 2022 presentation.
So the business result from that is that we get about 400 companies a month that apply for acquisition.com, so we can help them scale. And in that time period, we grew from 7 million a month to 13 million a month. And disclaimer on that is that part of that was just the companies themselves grew. It wasn't like new companies.
Now, obviously, if his audience, he can't monetize them with acquisition.com. So here where Skool really comes, he made his biggest investment into Skool. That's not sudden. Far from that. Well, let's have a quick flashback. Re-endorsed bought consulting.com, and consulting.com was owned by Sam Ovens, who is also the CEO and co-founder of Skool.com. So it's like this guy Sam Ovens like literally stopped his new podcast and sold the company just to focus on Skool, to go all in. And Reindoors, our flow state expert, got dispersed by buying company. It's like a whole. This is not something easy. Like it's a company, and he already has. He's a co-founder and CEO of a company, but he puts the Consolidate.com on strategic neglect. And let's recall Alex's mission. And if we really look at it, it's like Skool.com is like the perfect tool to make this education possible and to help people make money online and grow their businesses. It's like businesses can grow with communities, not only influencers and personal coaches and all of that. We can simplify all of this with the sake of making money, but really, if we see Alex, yes, he's heavily motivated by money, as I guess, or was motivated heavily by it. It's like he wanted to be rich but not famous, but in order to become richer and richer, he had to make organic content. And as time went on, it's like we see it's like business education type of obsession, and not a fan of Skool. It's like actually in reality has implications and has impact. It's like also we've got on the other side teachers who are not doing their job properly, and they're just complaining about students, and students complaining about the system and complaining about Skool. Like, look, there are students that don't have any right to complain. Like they are the problem. Like, man, it's like if you strike them on the tree, you would exaggeration. And of course, in the normal education, students are the problem because, well, they are. And we put our butts 8 hours on a chair. We sit more than we stand and learning mostly pointless things under the name of education. It's about getting attention and influencing it the way you should. It's like it's influencing them and how you're influencing them in general, not particularly Skool, also like in influence. Thank you for your priceless time, effort, and attention, the most scarce resource